Yesterday, Felix Hernandez made the biggest year-to-year jump in Baseball Hall of Fame voting history. Welcome to the Dom Skeen channel, your one-stop shop for the Mariners storylines on Seattle's minds. And that's right, yesterday, the Baseball Writers Association of America released the Professional Baseball Hall of Fame voting results. And like I said, right after, King Felix is the big winner here. 46.1% in second year on the ballot from just 20.6% in his first is a massive jump. Hernandez, 25.5% year-to-year jump is the biggest of the class. So you can see the voting here. I'm not going to spend too much time. Congratulations to Carlos Beltran, Andrew Jones for getting elected. Both of them, their percentages were lower than the public vote totals. Jones was way up in the 80s. Beltran was way up, I think, close to 90. So they both went down quite a bit. I think Beltran was like 89 and Jones was like 83. So both are at 5%. Chase Utley was expected to be around 69%, ends up at 59%. Pettit ends up at 48.5%. But the big winner here is Felix. Like I said, he's the only person who got a way higher vote total, or really a higher vote total than the public after all the ballots were released. And 25.5% year-to-year jump, 20.6% in his first year with a little bit more of a loaded Hall of Fame class, obviously Ichiro and some others, then to 46.1% here. So, and this is only his second year on the ballot, meaning that he is very, very likely going to get in by the time he gets up to those, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th years. He should definitely reach that 75% threshold should he keep gaining at any reasonable rate. And somebody even commented on this tweet of mine saying it's actually the biggest percent jump in Hall of Fame history, just edging out Luis Aparicio. I said, wow, I didn't realize that. The starting pitcher standards are changing right before our eyes. And then the Mariners I saw posted the King keeps climbing. King Felix jumps 25.5%, the largest one-year gain since 1967, and will remain on the Baseball Hall ballot, obviously. Now, I checked this 1967 because I was like, who in 1967 was able to gain gain that much? I was like, just curious, who was the last one since King Felix at this point, almost 60 years ago to do it. And also just wanted to point out that in the Professional Baseball Hall of Fame, their election cycles, kind of changed where from 1966 to the present, that's the first time that they did every year, voting. Up until then, it was like every other year. They did annually, every 3 years annually. So anyways, in the current era of voting, and I even looked, here's 1966. You got Ted Williams, you've got all these different guys, all these different names. Not going to spend too much time on this. And then you've got, you've got, 1967, Ruffing, Medwick, Campanella, Boudreaux, Kiner, Slaughter, Lopez, Marion, Reese, Mize, who gained 25.5% or more, between these years. And you look, this was the, 1966 Hall of Fame voting. Sorry, I know the screen is going crazy. I should have found a better way to do this, but it is what it is. Basically, Ted Williams gets in this year, but then I can't see between this and this. I don't see anybody that gained more than like 15, 20%. You go through these names. Yeah, there's really nobody, who ended up getting more than 25.5% of a gain on the ballot. So, if anybody in the comments has the answer for me, please go ahead and comment it down below. I also wanted to say that's pretty much it for now. Here's the public vote totals, or what they were. These are the vote totals that they had last year. So Felix 20.6%. Way up there to the 46.1%. And then some of these other guys. Andrew Jones makes a nice 12% gain. Carlos Beltran with a nice 14% gain. Utley does have a nice 20% gain, but I thought he was going to get to 69%, not 59%, even a little higher. Then you've got some of these other guys barely got a vote. I think Howie Kendrick didn't get a vote. Gio Gonzalez didn't get a vote. Daniel Murphy. Everybody else got votes. Porcello, Kemp, Pence, Markakis, who's an interesting conversation because of his counting stats, played a long time. Encarnacion got a vote. Chu, Gordon, Braun. If he didn't use steroids and get injured, he would have quite likely had a chance at this at the Hall of Fame. David Wright, captain in New York, would have had somewhat of a chance if the Mets had won that World Series. As David Murphy might have even had a chance of getting into like the Mets Hall of Fame, and definitely would have got a vote here. Then K-Rod, Mark Burley, Dustin Pedroia, these guys are staying on the ballot, I believe. Burley won a Cy Young, Pedroia won MVP in several World Series with the Red Sox. Vizquel got quite a few votes, and he'll be an interesting one. I think the Veterans Committee someday might put him in because he seems to be a widely respected name. You've got Rollins, won an MVP. It's funny with Utley, he's the one with the counting stats, kind of. Probably the one that deserves the Hall of Fame the most out of that Phillies dynasty, other than obviously rest in peace Roy Halladay, who's in the Hall of Fame. But Jimmy Rollins won an MVP. Ryan Howard won an MVP. Utley never won that MVP, so that just is going to make him wait a little bit longer, I think. Then A-Rod hovering around 40%, not making it. Manny Ramirez hovered around 40%. He went up to 38, and that's his last year on the ballot, so he won't make it. Maybe by a Veterans Committee someday. I think someday. I've long been adamant against the steroid use in the Hall of Fame, especially, but I think that someday the Veterans Committee is going to put these guys in the Hall of Fame. I think that is kind of, going to be a reality that we have to accept at some point. I just wanted to get on here and talk about this a little bit. Let me know if you can find who actually gained more than King Felix, but like in 1967 or whatever it was. Because I even looked at 1968, 1967 right there. Here's 1968. And I could not find the name that gained more than 25.5% on 1966, 67, 68, whatever the Mariners meant when they put out this tweet. So let me know down in the comments if you have the answer to that question. I will shout you out. And I wanted to let you guys know it's been a busy run with the Seahawks. Go check out Seahawks Wire for everything I've been writing about them. So I haven't been able to get to you guys quite as much, but I will be back tomorrow with a Randy Arozarena breakdown. I've got a lot of thoughts on the recent signing of Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette. I think that MLB is becoming a little bit more like European soccer, with super teams like Real Madrid, Man City, stuff like that. And I'm going to explain why that might not even be as bad, as people think. There could be a way for it to swing back around, and the Mariners can be, can still have, a chance at competing, because there is a lot of pessimism, and for good reason. Believe me, I kind of share that same sentiment, but I have some thoughts on that. And then also, got some stuff to say about, the Mariners basically agreed on arbitration with everybody. So I think that the roster is pretty much set, and I think that then the Mariners' salary cap is pretty much set right around 160 to 170 million. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Go Ems.